Well, I am sorry about my rough appearance in this video. I know I haven't made a video in a long time. I've pretty much just stopped making videos. It's just something I don't have time for. I just got done with a double shift, looking pretty rough, just got out of the shower, blah, 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 so on and so forth. I'm really just doing this video as a response to some of the weird claims and just biased tomfoolery that was said in a video by Fringy. He's clearly biased towards the PC platform, and you know what, that's fine. We all have our personal biases and preferences and such, but he's making a response video to someone claiming to try and attempt to make an unbiased video comparing, top 5 advantages of console over PC gaming. This guy's making a video on the side of PC, and Fringy's responding to it point for point. Sometimes just nitpicking. We'll go through it beat by beat, but he nitpicks quite a bit. Clearly, the guy sometimes exaggerates certain points just for emphasis and effect to get his point across, and Fringy just tears him a new one for doing this kind of thing. And people exaggerate for emphasis all the time to prove a point, to make a good point, and Fringy takes it literally, and even though he knows better. Just nitpicky crap like that kind of gets on my nerves a little bit, but I usually can let that go, but we're going to focus on the points and responses that he makes to this video. I think he's a little off point on some of the responses he makes to this other guy's video. Usually he's not. I think 99.9% of the time, Fringy's pretty on point with his response videos, and I can pretty much agree on everything he says. But here, I'm not sure I do. So let's just take a look at the video real quick and see what he says.
Attempting to argue that console gaming is better than PC gaming is a fruitless endeavor. To think consoles are better than PCs requires one to be suffering from severe cognitive dissonance, because it's just fucking wrong. You'd have an easier time arguing that there's an abundance of wasabi in the Earth's stratosphere. I've never watched a console gaming is better than PC gaming video, and emerged even mildly impressed with the points raised. Most of the time, the points raised are flat out wrong, and the ones that aren't are either extremely flawed or correct about 15 years ago. Today we're going through one of these videos, and I
like the fact that on consoles you can still buy physical games, and it offers a collectability and speaks to the inner desire to get new stuff, new toys, new things. It makes you feel good sometimes when you buy a thing you really want, and you come home and go to unwrap it. And put it on your shelf and add it to your collection. I don't get the same sense of satisfaction from PC gaming when I add something to my Steam list. And while physical copies do exist on the PC platform, they're just kind of harder to come by, a little more useless almost. Half the time you're buying a disc but enter the code into Steam. That and the fact that they're not universally packaged in a one agreed upon case style means that you shelf them and they look ugly. Like, when I put my old copy of Doom 3 and Half-Life 2 next to each other, both in cardboard boxes, they're different shaped cardboard boxes. Like, Half-Life 2's is humongous back when I bought it in 2004, and Doom 3's is a normal cardboard box. And then now games have both the thick style CD cases and thinner ones like a normal CD case should be. I've even seen PC games packaged in Blu-ray cases. It's all over the place. That's an advantage right there for consoles that PC just doesn't have in abundance. They do exist, but they're inconvenient. They're not made easy for the consumer to buy and collect. Anyway, getting off on a tangent.
I get the impression it's going to be a rollicking time. I'm confident that this guy will make some really balanced, logical points against PC gaming. I'm so sure of that!
Hello and welcome. I know you've probably seen 280 million videos that are titled the exact same as this, discussing the same exact subject matter as this.
Well, probably not 280 million. I mean, that seems infeasible. For that to be possible, literally every single person who owned a PS3, Xbox 360, and Wii would have to have made a video, and we'd still be 20 million videos short. I know I'm being facetious, but if I'm going to provide my viewers with some entertainment, I gotta work with what little you provided. Honestly, your video is about as entertaining as the Holocaust.
However, I assure you, this is the most unbiased opinion you will ever find on this topic. Just trust me, please.
If your video was actually unbiased, you wouldn't have needed to tell us that. It should be self-evident, for the same reason that nobody warns us the ocean is wet.
Okay, a better way to have said this is him, in the original video, him say, I'm going to try to be as unbiased as possible, just to let his viewers know with a, baseline of, zero knowledge on the subject, assuming his viewers have zero knowledge on the subject. And he kind of goes through the whole video with this assumption. It's good to try and inform people that he's going to try to stand in the middle. And look at it from both, perspectives, if possible. Everyone, like I said, has preferences and biases. But to let his viewers know that he's trying to be unbiased, I don't think is a crime. I don't know. I mean, maybe you agree with Fringy here, but just laying into him for saying that, I don't know if I agree.
I see you trying to get as much mileage out of our royalty-free music as possible.
Now,
funny
this is
joke.
Me being totally obsessed with consoles.
Sure.
I'm also making a video of 5 ways PCs are better than consoles.
You say that like it absolves you of fault for making moronic claims. If someone were to tell me that monkeys shit molten gold, and then follow that claim up with, just so you know I'm a really good astrophysicist, it's not like that makes the previous claim less retarded. I imagine you think we're being uniquely fair by making 2 videos on the subject, when in reality, most of these videos feature some kind of disclaimer along the lines of, both have benefits and drawbacks, despite how misleading of a statement that is. One has far more drawbacks. There are benefits and drawbacks to performing open heart surgery with a scythe instead of a scalpel, but only one of them drastically increases your chances of accidentally slicing the patient's heart in 2.
They are just both suited to different.
If he decides to make 2 videos on the topic, he can't tell his viewers he's going to make 2 videos on the topic. Okay, PC may have more tangible benefits to the platform. No one's arguing that, but it's not insane to think that he'd be able to find some benefits to owning a console. Hell, I just listed one. Physical copies of games with a universal packaging system for each console. Collectability. It's not insane to think that both videos would have a substantial amount of information enough to make 2 videos on the subject. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Different things and have different advantages.
No, virtually everything consoles do, PCs do better. It's not like most product choices. A Kia Sorento comes out looking like dog shit compared to a Lamborghini Veneno, but the latter costs over 20 times as much.
If that were the case and PC does simply everything better, so much better than console, then why is there a market for consoles? Ask yourself that. Is it just that there's 40 million idiots out there that bought PlayStations and another 20-some-odd million idiots out there that bought Xboxes? No, clearly these have markets for informed consumers. Even hardcore gamers with disposable income buy into consoles. If PC did everything and did it better, people would not buy them.
Not taking into consideration fuel efficiency and what will surely be a sky-high insurance premium. This same comparison doesn't apply when talking about PCs and consoles. PC gaming is almost always the better option, and if you're as unbiased as you'd like to think
almost always,
you'll come to terms with this by the end of this video.
So that's what these 2 videos are for. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's go to reason number 1. Universal configuration. When you buy a game on console, you already know with a surety.
A surety isn't a word.
When you buy a game on console, you already know with a surety that it's going to work on your console.
If you buy a game for PC, it's got to run on your PC. Don't even bother bringing up OS compatibility. If you're too retarded to know what operating system you need to play your PC game, you'd be equally as likely to stick an Xbox One disc into an original Xbox and then be sat in your couch going, dude, why does that not work?
I buy Call of Duty for my Xbox.
Okay.
It's going to work on my Xbox. It's built for my Xbox. I don't have to set anything up. It's just going to work. It's simple, it's easy, and it's hassle-free.
Well, I purchased
Presumably.
Battlefield 1 for my PC, and get this, it worked on my PC. Despite my initial concerns, my computer didn't explode when the game finished installing. Interestingly enough, every PC game is designed to run on PCs. It's kind of a given. I certainly didn't have any compatibility issues. I didn't need to tweak the settings since the game automatically...
Okay, I gotta stop you right there. On my old PC, my specs were more than powerful enough to run a old game like, what was it, Star Wars Republic Commando, I believe it was, the squad-based Rainbow Six-inspired Star Wars game where you're commandos or whatever. I bought that game. It was much older than the PC that I owned. One of the big benefits to PC gaming is you can go back generations and generations and play these old games on modern machines. No matter what kind of machine you have, you should be able to play practically any game. And Republic Commando is not such an old game that, like, you should have major compatibility issues. Like, it was running on XP machines and normal, just computers of a modern era. But because I happen to have a more modern AMD or ATI video card, at the time, I'm not sure, it might have been AMD by then, because I had this video card that no longer had the technology that the game required in the video card because it was an older game, the game simply would not function. No tweaking, no INI file, just reworking, nothing. Nothing would get that game to work. I looked it up and looked it up. Eventually, I came to the conclusion that some PCs just cannot run the game at all. Yes, it was an older game, and it's not like I bought this $60 game and, booted it up and it didn't work. But this was back before the days of Steam refunds, and I bought the game on sale. It wasn't very expensive at that time since it was so old. But for a platform that boasts this advantage and people that claim every game practically works that should work, to not have something work like that, big deal. Big deal. I was very upset. I was super excited to play Republic Commando. I hadn't played it in a long time, and I don't think I ever fully beat the game back in the day when it was out on the original Xbox and PC back in the day. And I was excited to play it. It simply would not run on my machine. Bottom line. Nothing I could do but replace the video card, and I should not have to do that to get an old game like that to run. Also, you know what? I'll just let him go ahead.
Optimize them for my build. Literally, I had to click a few buttons, download the game, and I could start playing. Just like that. So fucking complicated.
PC games aren't always that easy.
In the vast majority of cases, they are that easy.
Vast
Really
majority, maybe.
is in the
but
nature
not all.
of PC itself. Like, PCs are all different. PCs are not built the same. They don't all have the same chips. They don't all have the same cards. They don't work exactly the same.
You do realize that all PCs are fundamentally the same, right? There are differences between PCs in terms of capability and hardware, so there are more variables to consider, but every PC needs the same components to work, whether it's a CPU, RAM, the motherboard, or so on. On top of this, PCs running the same OS have the same base software architecture, and if your PC is too shit to run a game, the developer usually makes it pretty clear with these things called system requirements, which are released before a game launches. If you end up downloading a game that you can't run, unless it's buggy or a piss-poor port, it's usually your fault. It's not PC gaming's fault that you're an idiot. Even if we were to stretch this argument and say, well, there are more variables to consider when it comes to PC gaming, which would be a more accurate statement to make, I see that as a flaw completely overshadowed by what is game, and that's total freedom. Universal configuration is a nice way of saying restrictions. It means you bend to the will of the console manufacturer.
Okay, well, how about this? There are advantages to programming to on a closed box, a closed box system. PCs are open source. They have to account for many hardware configurations, and oftentimes you may not get as much mileage out of a particular piece of hardware as you would get on a console. Because the developers are programming for a closed box system, they get, to optimize that to its fullest extent. And between, the course of a generation from beginning to end, you'll have games looking totally different from the beginning to the end. I mean, you compare a game like Resistance 1 to Uncharted 3 or Killzone 3, and you see a huge leap. Now, with these newer consoles being x86, we don't see as much of that as we probably would last generation. But looking at games like Battlefront, Battlefield 1, that Frostbite 3 engine, I think it is, it's just phenomenal looking. And they've really got a lot of mileage out of those closed box environments. While the PC can technically run those games better, they can run them better and at higher resolutions and frame rates and set graphics settings, you're getting a lot of mileage and bang for your buck out of a $300 machine being able to play a game like Battlefield 1 at 60 frames per second. I mean, granted, yes, the PC gamer is always going to argue, well, you got to slap on the price of PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live on top of the price of the console. Sure, $50 a year, $60 a year. Sure, you slap that on top, and after a generation, you're looking at what, $600 tops. I mean, it's not that bad, considering you're running games that look like Battlefield 1 at 60 frames per second with 64 players in multiplayer. You really can't complain about that. I mean, granted, yeah, I bought the game Battlefield 1 on my PC because my PC is fully capable of, that at higher settings, but would a $600 PC from 3 years ago be running the game that great? Like, so much better than the consoles that it's worth bragging about? I don't know. I don't know, dude. I mean, like, Gears of War 4 has some pretty high specs. Would a PC, $600 PC from 3 years ago be running that game, just the same, if not way better? I mean, that's the advantage of PC. Cheaper, better, just... Would it be 3 years ago, a $600 PC from that time be running Gears of War 4 twice as good than the console? I mean, it would have to be running it at least as good, right? Right? I mean, it should. It should be running it better, right? I don't know. You tell me.
You can't upgrade it, you can't mod it, you can't install whatever software you want on it. While PC gaming offers you freedom, console gaming offers you limitations, which you're trying to pass off as an advantage.
So consoles really simplify it for people who want to be sure that it's going to work right out the box and have nothing they need to set up or configure.
Never have I been concerned that a game I buy for my PC simply won't work. Unless your PC is ancient or running DOS, it's usually never going to be
Republic Commando?
Even the worst ports still run on my PC. And if you're talking about broken games, that's the fault of developer incompetence.
Okay, are we going to sit here and pretend that the PC platform isn't notorious for bad ports? I mean, obviously it's getting better. When I started PC gaming back in the day, it was super notorious for bad console ports. I mean, the only games you could truly rely on, it felt like, were the PC exclusive games designed from the ground up. And over time, they got better, and now they're actually pretty good. Like, it's at a pretty competent level. For the most part, you can be pretty sure that console ports are going to run, but let's be honest, it is still plagued by some bad ports. It is. I mean, obviously, there are games that don't work on console. All platforms are plagued by broken games. But, I mean, I've never seen many cases where a game gets ported from PC over to console. Say, like, XCOM 2 comes out for console after being exclusive to PC. I don't remember any major recent cases. I mean, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, where games ported from PC to console just suck. The port just sucks. That freaking bad. Like Arkham Knight bad. Like, you need a refund for that game bad. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong on that point, but I don't know. Like, PC has been plagued by some pretty bad ports, and it is notorious for that problem. It has been over the years. While it's getting better, it's still not where it should be. You know, it has room to improve. The port thing is just not really a factor on console. People don't talk about that being a factor. Ports generally just work all the time. There's no worry or concern about that. It's not even a topic people bring up. For PC, on the other hand, it's something that is talked about. So thus, it would lead one to assume that ports occasionally, once in a while, once in a blue moon, are just bad on PC. They're not properly optimized or programmed for the PC platform. The devs may have been lazy. And that's another thing. You're blaming the devs for their laziness. Fair enough. It is the devs' fault. But ultimately, it comes down to whether the game is a good or bad port on PC. If it is a bad port on PC, then you can make the claim that PC gets some bad ports. Bottom line. Whether or not it's the developer's fault or not, it is a strike against PC gaming. Like it or not. Period.
It's also a stupid argument. Console games are released broken as well.
Alright, reason 2.
Okay.
Better social and entertainment services.
This one's gonna be good, isn't it?
Now, by this I mean, social integration. On PC, the Steam Friends platform is alright.
It's better than alright. It's pretty good. I can't think of any features Xbox Live has over Steam, and any features Steam doesn't have are available in third-party software packages like Steam or TeamSpeak. I don't see how having more options for socializing with your friends is a bad thing.
But
more options is a good thing, but if PC is as good as you say it is, then Steam should be able to, encompass all of your needs. Much in the way that PlayStation or Xbox, does. And I'm not saying that there are things that the PC or, their networks can do that Steam is incapable of. And I'm not saying that they're way better or the PC can, not do certain things. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that Steam should be able to do everything the consoles do. Given the open source nature and limitless potential of the PC, Steam should be doing everything better. There should not be one thing that it does worse or lesser than a console. Not one thing.
Xbox, and I can't really speak about PlayStation because I haven't used PlayStation too much, but the Xbox Friends service and all the social features on Xbox are absolutely superior.
No, they aren't. I mean, you'd think for a paid service that Microsoft shit would be top tier, but it's not. I mean, it's fine. It usually works. Usually.
And they had a lot of social fun. They have the great achievement system. There's a lot of social infrastructure that really enhances the experience and makes it pretty fun for a lot of people. So if you enjoy that kind of thing, that's really important.
All you can name was achievements, a thing Steam also has. You can't just say Xbox has better social features without explaining why. Like, how...
Correct me if I'm wrong, but haven't Steam achievements been hacked on numerous occasions by quite a few people? I mean, if that is the case, and that is true, then it devalues the entire meaning of achievements and makes those less fulfilling to earn. If one can just hack them and earn them get them without earning them, it just devalues the whole system and breaks it down.
fucking hard is it to tell us what the Xbox One has over PC gaming in terms of social features? Surely if it's superior, listing these reasons should be effortless.
And second part of this, entertainment services. You can watch Netflix on your computer, but a TV is always going to be best suited for this.
Well, that's funny because I watch Netflix on my PC and laptop. I've never used Netflix on my PS4 or Xbox. And hey, if you feel like watching Netflix on your TV, you could always hook up your PC to your TV and watch Netflix on your TV. It's that fucking easy. HDMI.
Dude, how many setups is it more convenient for you to either drag your PC near your TV or run an HDMI cord from your PC's setup, assuming it's at a desk like a normal person's is, run that HDMI cord to your TV, duplicate or extend the displays, and blow up a Netflix video to full screen? No. Console just does it easier. It's more convenient. Most consumers are going to want to, I shouldn't say most consumers, but there are a large quantity of consumers that would prefer to consume Netflix on their television. And the PC does not necessarily make that always the most convenient option. While it is possible to do these things on, PC with your TV and blah, 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 it is not made as easy and as convenient and as simple as it is on the console. Right? Are we agreed? It's easier to watch Netflix from your console on your TV than it is from your PC to your TV. I mean, TV watching can be a social experience. And while it is occasionally cool to watch TV by yourself, staring at a monitor, I mean, some people like to do that, I guess. But if I want to watch something with someone, we don't want to all gather around my computer screen, okay? So that rules that out for a lot of social situations. And honestly, running an HDMI cord to my TV, even if it's already set up that way, to have to fiddle around with my mouse and stuff over at my desk to watch Netflix on my TV? Dude, even with a wireless mouse and keyboard, like, do I really want to have to control Netflix with my mouse and keyboard at my TV? Come on, dude. Use your head. And I think later in this video you argue that mouse and keyboard is more convenient to watch movies on than a freaking controller, which is basically a remolded remote control that you can hold in both hands instead of just one. Like, honestly, dude. Are you seriously going to sit here and argue that you are not biased, Fringy? Could you watch this video and tell me that you are not just a wee bit biased? I mean, everyone is. I've accepted that, everyone is. I have my personal bias as well, and it's hard to overcome them. Impossible at times. But, some of your points are just bullshit.
Wireless keyboard and mouse if you feel like it. And now you're watching Netflix on TV. You strike me as the kind of person who goes to a buffet and only eats the bread.
And on both Xbox and PlayStation, you can watch all your Netflix, your Hulu, your Amazon, all those kind of things.
Yeah, and I can use those services on PC, so what's your point?
And even the most hardcore gamers watch something, I found this out after spending 3 days in hypoglycemic arrest after binge-watching 4 seasons of Archer straight.
Why do you have to drag a great show like Archer into your shitty video?
So, even people like me who think, I don't even watch TV ever.
Dude, he told a personal little tidbit about his life and something of a traumatic one, possibly. And then all you can do is insult his video. It's just bad taste, bro. I know you get your edge and you form your identity through your sarcasm and your little quick jabs and stuff, but just choose the right battles, man. Pick the right battles, and I don't think that particular comment was necessary. Just I don't know.
Sometimes we will, and consoles are very convenient for that because they're already hooked up to a TV most of the time. And they simplify that whole thing.
They don't, though. How is it more simple, or even remotely more easy, to use a controller, a suboptimal interface device, to watch movies and TV shows, as opposed to opening a tab on Chrome and clicking on the show you want to watch.
Alright, this...
Dude, you seriously just described controllers as suboptimal to select video content? How are they so much more suboptimal than a remote control? I can't think of... aside from searching for the video on a keyboard, that's the only major advantage I can think of that the mouse and keyboard setup has for finding video content, man. Like, a controller functionally is practically no different from a remote control. The generally accepted norm for television watching. God!
This third reason is very basic. Cost.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Consoles are cheaper.
No, they aren't. Not long term.
Obviously, you can build a $300 PC, and it'll work, but generally speaking, you really don't want to build a really crappy PC like that.
Why did you say $300 when the PS4 launched for $400 and the Xbox One used to run for $5?
Dude, you cannot use launch prices against a video made today. Bottom line. You cannot do it. Maybe you paid $400 or $500 for your console, but that is no longer the running cost of a console. I mean, yes, the PS4 Pro is $400, but that is an optional purchase. It's not necessary to do any of the things he mentions in his video. You can get, many times you can get them even less than $300. I mean, I'm pretty sure the other day I saw an Xbox One bundle for $250 with all kinds of free stuff. Throw in games, Xbox Live, controllers, damn near a free hooker. Like, jeez.
$500. It seems like you went with the cheapest possible price to make that point, because for $500, you can get yourself a pretty solid piece.
Not fair to compare it to the $500 price tag. Absolutely not fair. Nope. Invalid. Completely invalid. Nope. Can't do it. I will allow you a pass on adding the price of online gaming through the course of a 6-year generation on top of the price of a console right now. So what, you're looking at, 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300 for a 6-year lifespan of a console, added to the $300 roughly cost of a console that values up to $600. If you were to build a $600 PC today, will it last you 3 years? Probably. Will it last you 6? Maybe. I don't know. Think about it. Back when the consoles came out, let's say, yes, a PS4 costed $400, so let's use that price point. $400 plus $300 for PlayStation Plus is $700. You buy a $700 PC at the same time that you buy that $400 console plus, online time. And is the PC's lifespan really going to be that much better and longer than the consoles? At that same cost? And I mean, that's not even accounting for the fact that you need, keyboard and mouse and all that stuff generally doesn't necessarily come with all PC, tower-only builds. Consoles come with a controller. And since you have PlayStation Plus, you get all kinds of free games on top of that. I mean, the cost is pretty neck and neck in my opinion. I mean, bang for your buck on PC isn't necessarily as great as some people will make it. Lead you to believe. I'm sure somebody could break down the math bit by bit to prove me that PCs are inevitably cheaper. But I would find it very hard to believe that PCs are exponentially cheaper without, upgrading them, at any time throughout the generation. This isn't including upgrades. I just would have a hard time believing it, that PCs are that much cheaper. Consoles do have the advantage of also having a lower upfront cost. You don't have to buy 3 years of plus at a time, you can dole that out over time, which to me is an automatic, advantage in the consoles column. Yeah, you're talking long term, but if you want a, smaller upfront cost, that's an advantage in the consoles column. I'm sorry, but a $300-400 PC just is not going to cut it for 5 or 6 years. Sorry. And you can't dole that, money out over time the way you could with a console. You have to put all that expense in up front. You have to get all of the parts in before the PC will function. I don't know. Like, you could probably break it down, piece by piece and all of this and that, and find that the PC might still be, have the advantage, but I would have a hard time believing it's by that much money. The amount of money that's really worth writing home about. And we're talking about pretty low-end stuff here. Like, if you build a PC for around that cost, I would not personally buy a PC for $600-700. Just would not do it. It's not worth it. No. If you want the true advantage of the platform, that as everyone brags it to have, you're going to want to spend more than that. Yes. I mean, yeah, you can build a PC. Would I personally want that PC? Hell no. And, of course, people are going to argue the game price differential, but as I recall, a lot of games launch at $60 on PC, and you can't use that as a part of the equation. It's just too many variables to consider, on a consumer-by-consumer basis. I mean, there are times when PC games are cheaper, but there are also times when you can find games on console cheaper, too. So, can't use that.
A console's going to be fairly cheap and run things relatively well.
Consoles do not run games relatively well. Excluding Nintendo games, console games run like fucking garbage. 30 FPS, a suboptimal frame rate, is the standard for most console games, and some games can't even hit that consistently, let alone 60 FPS. That's not relatively well. That's shit.
And generally, I can safely say that consoles...
Saying 30 frames per second is shit is technically an opinion. If you find 30 frames per second an acceptable gameplay, experience, then owning a console is really going to be fine for you. Well, 60 FPS is clearly the superior choice, if you're able to, hit 60 FPS on every game on a $600 rig or whatever, great. That's clearly the superior option. 60 FPS is great if you can do it. And consoles only do it in some cases. Some developers opt for it, some don't. But bottom line, to say it's shit, 30 FPS gameplay is shit, is still technically an opinion, not a fact.
Are going to be cheaper than PCs.
But you're wrong. You can't comfortably say that. You're wrong. PC gaming has a higher upfront cost, but once you take into account the money you save not having to pay for online every year, as well as Steam sales, cheap CD keys...
You can't use Steam sales.
As well as the fact that you need some kind of fucking computer in the 21st century anyhow, in the long run, you're going to save tons of money on PC gaming. The fact that you don't know this...
You can own a cell phone or a tablet. Like, you can get by without a computer, dude. You really can. I mean, the console can web browse, watch YouTube, Netflix. Outside of word processing and maybe some video editing stuff that you like to do, and maybe some niche people, people out there do, you don't actually have to have a computer. You probably find that to be an alien concept, considering you're a big PC gamer and you're a big PC fan in general, and you think that it is a staple in the modern household. I can see why you would think that, but you don't need to own a computer, dude. Not with all the devices out there nowadays.
Indicates how little you actually know about PC gaming.
Reason 4 is something you probably haven't thought about, but it's really nice, actually. All of your games are on one service.
What?
On PC, you have some really stubborn publishers who decide that they don't want their games on Steam. They want to make their own thing.
Which they're well within their rights to do. Why do you feel like it's necessary for companies like EA or Blizzard to put their games on Steam, and thereby relinquish a portion of their profits to Valve instead of running their own services. If anything, this is a good thing. It encourages competitiveness. If Steam is the only gaming tech
Encourages competitiveness? Wouldn't you say encourages competition? I don't know. I'm no English major by any means, but you point out grammatical errors in his video. It seems only fair that I attempt to do so in yours. I'm not sure if that technically is one, but it just didn't sound right to me. What is wrong with a consumer wanting a simplified UI? I mean, you say that consoles aren't more, simple and easy to use and user-friendly, but in the same sentence, you're saying that, it's cool that, you can have to have some games on Origin or games with Windows or whatever, Steam, Uplay, GOG, stuff like that. You're saying, all that is, okay, you're saying it's just as good as how having everything under one roof is, on console. You're saying it's just fine on PC. It's neck and neck. I don't know if I agree with that, dude. If possible, I would want every game I own on, Battle.net, Origin, anything, launchers that are from games outside Steam. I want them all under the Steam umbrella. When I launch big screen, I want to play every game I own on big screen. Yet that is not possible technically on PC, is it? To my knowledge, it's not. I mean, I'm not claiming to be a PC expert by any means, but I'm not sure that you could put every game under the Steam banner. I wish there was more cross-compatibility like that on the PC platform, and that all those, extra programs and apps and stuff would just get along and communicate with each other just fine. But that's not always the case. And while encouraging competition in the marketplace is a good thing, I still think it's annoying to deal with for the end consumer. There are advantages to it, but there are also some disadvantages, and you need to admit that.
They have no incentive to improve their service or implement features that gamers want. If EA didn't implement a really solid refund system through Origin, Valve may not have started working on a refund system for Steam as promptly as they did. The issue with separate services like Rockstar Social Club and Uplay is not the fact that they're separate from Steam. The problem is that these services are shit services.
I'm pointing fingers
And the fact that they're separate from
Ubisoft?
Steam, and it's kind of annoying. I mean, yeah, it's a minor inconvenience, but at the same time, it's still an inconvenience, and I don't want it like that. So, strike against the PC, bottom line. And I'm sure there are people that agree with me, so. I mean, technically, yeah, it's an opinion. But if at least one person has that opinion, then it's valid, right? It's a valid reason.
EA and Rockstar, just to name a few. Rockstar is forever forgiven because they make GTA and they do still allow their games on Steam.
So do Ubisoft, you plonker.
But for those of you who don't know, on PC, if you want to play any of the new EA games, you have to do it through Origin, which is their own little thing that competes with Steam. That really just complicates everything.
If people are confused about Origin in 2016, that must be pretty new. Origin has been active for 5 years. It was shit when it first launched, but it's improved a lot over the years.
It's much...
You really sound like a PC apologist. Sure, Origin's improved, but dude, I don't know. It just comes off as apologist to me. I'm sorry, it just does. It's really not that bad. It's gotten better over the years, so it's not shit anymore, I promise. And it's not complicated. You must be really new or really dumb if you don't like it like this. Whatever.
much nicer to be able to have all your games on Xbox. You have all your Xbox friends for all your Xbox games. You don't have to, separate them and have your Origin friends and your Steam friends and your Uplay friends, and just a whole complicated mess that sort of is that.
It's not that complicated, dude.
Alright, this last week...
Doesn't matter. Complicated's a poor choice of words. It's just annoying. I'm not to reword his video, but I'll say it to you this way. It's annoying. I like it all under one banner. I like all my friends under one roof. I don't want to have to add the same friend to 2 different friends lists. Complicated? Nah, I'm smart enough to figure it out. Annoying? Yeah, don't want to deal with it. Strike against PC. Boom.
Reason is dying, which is very unfortunate because I love couch co-op.
Really? You want to argue that a benefit to console gaming in 2016 is local split-screen multi...
Alright, you know what? I'm just going to end the video here. Like, I'm getting tired, it's late, and this video's long enough. This goes on for another 5 minutes. I've made enough points. You are going to sit here and tell me that PC and consoles couch co-op experience is neck and neck. There's not much difference between them. I mean, well, yes, technically, there are a couple of couch co-op games on PC, and technically couch co-op is slowly fading on the consoles, but you're seriously going to tell me the offerings for couch co-op and couch multiplayer, just couch multiplayer in general, is neck and neck. And that playing couch co-op on a PC is just as simple and convenient as it is booting up a console and plugging in a couple of controllers on a TV that everyone can see, that you don't need to run an HDMI cord from your PC or move your PC to do any of this stuff with. You don't have to figure out the controllers, like getting your wireless dongle out and making sure like everyone's plugged in, or plugging into all the USB slots located in all strange positions around your non-universal configurated PC, because everyone's PC case is different and everyone has to figure it out, and you have to make sure everyone's connected. Like console, that shit just is streamlined. And to say that the offerings for games are the same between, the couch multiplayer experiences between PC and console, is just ignorance, dude. It is ignorance. Plain and simple, dude. To even argue, to even have the audacity to make the argument that couch multiplayer on the PC is anything in the same realm as it is, on console, no matter what era it is, and no matter how much that stuff is fading away, is a bold fucking statement, and a false one. I don't care if it's fading or not. PC just is not the platform of choice if you want to couch multiplayer. Okay? I was playing, Rayman Legends on the console co-op. I was playing, 3D World not too long ago with my girl. 3D, with Legends, technically you may be able to play it on PC, co-op, but I know sure as hell that my girl ain't gonna want to play it on PC with me. I can tell you that for damn sure. Even if I got wireless controllers and plugged into my TV, you should just say boot up the PS4. Why are you going through all that shit? And then Mario 3D World, this is a game that's not even available on the PC. You can't do split screen on a PC. How many games on PC offer split screen? I'm sure you're going to cite some example of some arbitrary game that has it, but on a case-by-case basis, if you were to list the games in a modern era from, the 360 or Xbox One, PS4, PS3 generation that, had split screen multiplayers, shit like that, compared to the ones on PC, it would blow the PC out of the water. Just like it did on the last argument. While you can bring up these little technicalities and shit, anyone with a brain knows that when it comes to couch multiplayer, console is just the only real legitimate option you have. And it's a good point, dude. I know it's a fading art. Like, couch multiplayer is a fading, it's a fading, I don't know what the word is, option in gaming. Like, we're all moving to online. That, it's the future, and that makes sense. And we're getting away from couch multiplayer as a result, because people don't need to necessarily come over and play games with each other. They can just do that when they're each at home and, they're away from each other. And when they hang out, they do other stuff. But occasionally, if you just want to kick back and play some Madden with your bro, which isn't even on PC, it's an exclusive on console. Imagine that. Something that console has that PC doesn't. A football game. The premier football game. And it offers, couch head-to-head multiplayer. Like, PC just lacks a lot of that stuff, man. And that's the bottom line. Like, a lot of your statements are just biased, man. And I know I'm speaking to you as if you'll even watch this video, but it'd be cool if you did. I have nothing against you, obviously. I actually think your content is great. And I enjoyed a lot. I'll continue to be a fan. But this video caught me a little bit off guard, and I was a little bit surprised how nitpicky and how biased you were coming off. And it wasn't within my perception of your, characteristic or personality norms. Like, I just didn't expect this from you. And I don't know. It didn't necessarily change my opinion of you too much. Like, we all have our moments of, poor judgment, and I don't know. Like, it's not going to change the way I feel about you and your content. I'll still be a fan. I'll still watch your videos and still enjoy them a lot. Hell, I was even entertained by this one, but I just think this video was just bad. Like, it was a bad video. Whether or not you'd ever agree to that assessment is a mystery. Probably not, because you'd probably have way too much pride to ever, put any stock in what little old nobody on the internet has to say. But, it doesn't change the simple fact that video, well, technically it's an opinion, but in this guy's opinion, who normally considers himself a fan, your video is pretty bad. This one is, for sure. And that's that. So, still enjoy your content, and anybody that watches this, thank you for watching. Probably won't get many views. I'll link the original video in the description, hopefully, and that should wrap it up.